guys, this is Dr. Khan. Hope you guys are doing well and this reaches you on all levels of positivity. Today I'm going to be speaking about something extremely crucial, particularly to Muslim communities, Muslim homes, Muslim families. Okay, there's a cycle that needs to be broken. There's a cycle that is affecting our ummah, our society as a whole, and it needs to stop. Okay, I don't think a lot of us have ever spoken about it or even were aware or are aware of it. So I'm trying to bring this awareness to our community. Okay, so I am going to be talking about how the women and men in certain homogenous cultures have been affected by this programming and how to stop it and what it is. Okay, so number one, what is the homogenous culture that I'm talking about? Which homogenous cultures am I talking about? I'm talking about Desi, that means Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indian. I'm talking about African cultures. I'm talking about Arab cultures, Middle Eastern cultures. Okay, we have been programmed a certain way. The men in our society have been programmed a certain way, and the women have been programmed a certain way. So I'm going to be speaking about, and then there's this cycle, this very dysfunctional cycle due to this programming that occurs, and if we don't stop it, it's going to just continue, and if we don't raise awareness. So I'm going to, number one, talk about the programming. Number two, I'm going to be talking about cultural Islam. I'm going to be talking about the programming of codependency and narcissism, and then I'm going to be speaking about the cycle and what that is. Okay, so let's start out with programming. What is the programming? Okay, so every single individual, when they are born with a blank slate. We are programmed at a very early age by our environment. So we are programmed by our society, our parents, our extended family, the movies we watch, the songs that we're playing, our grandparents, and so on. So we've been programmed to be a certain way. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? Okay? Particularly, individuals from these homogenous cultures have been programmed a certain way. Women have been programmed to be codependent. And men have been programmed to be either codependent or, in my opinion, narcissistic. Okay? And we need to understand how this happens and why this happens and how to stop it. Okay, so when I say programming, a lot of these homogenous cultures have been programmed by cultural Islam. Okay? Cultural Islam is fake Islam, not the real Islam. It's Islam that has been distorted due to lack of education or due to selfish needs for the family or society. So cultural Islam, that programming has taught us, taught women in these societies, in these cultures, that your feelings don't matter, right? That you need to be slaves. That everyone else comes first but you. And you've seen this with your mothers. You've seen this with how your grandmother acted. So you were programmed that you're a woman and your life's goal is to sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice. And it's quite sad because a lot of women forget that they're beautiful souls created by God who have also a purpose and who matter, and their feelings matter. So that's what happens with women. Cultural Islam programs us to be codependent individuals. Okay? And I will get deeper into why that happens. Moving on. Men are taught, or programmed, let's say, to have narcissistic characters. Okay? Now, what does that mean? These are individuals who are cut off from pain. They're very egoistic, have a lot of anger, may have a lot of anger. They force people to validate them. They seek attention. Some of them might get very defensive if you confront them. Just they can't see past their feelings. It's all about them. Me, right? So a lot of men from these homogenous cultures show these tendencies, again, in my opinion. Okay? Now let's get deeper. Why does this happen? Well, it happens because it's this sick, dysfunctional cycle. What is this cycle? The cycle is this. Number one, the daughter, right, sees her mother at a very young age being a slave to everyone's needs. Okay? This mother is always taking care of her in-laws, always taking care of her husband who never grew up, who has his anger outbursts and tantrums. She's running around like a chicken, just serving everybody in the expense of her needs and her wants, and she's getting sick. So now this daughter is never seen by her mother or her father because they're too busy, living their own programming, right? So now this daughter over here is in the background, never seen, never validated. Her feelings don't matter. So she sees her mom, so she starts emulating her mom and starts doing the same thing, like, don't rock the boat, don't express yourself, don't talk back, just clean and you know what, just try to make everybody happy, So this codependency that develops this programming, basically this codependent person is always seeking validation outside of themselves because she never received that love and validation as a young child. So now this child is in the background, being ignored, not really, being noticed. Okay? So now she learns that her feelings don't matter. Now she grows up and she continues this cycle, right? Now she's seeking an individual, like a narcissist or somebody that will validate her, but really won't because he can't see her, right? Now there's the father, right, who really is cut off from pain. So now there's this son who observes this, right? The mommy's too busy enabling the father, right? The mother's not allowed to express herself. She's in the room, putting out fires because the father's having a tantrum or the mother-in-law needs something. So now the son never received the validation he needed, right? So he's exposed to a lot of anger by the father or in the home, the hostility in the home, the instability. Nobody's feelings are being validated. So now the son develops this tendency to cut himself off from pain and starts developing narcissistic tendencies, right? Because he's been waiting to be validated for so long. He's never getting guidance, right? Because the father's too busy with his programming and the mother's too busy with her programming. And now he develops these narcissistic tendencies. Now he can't wait for, he demands people to validate him as he gets older, right? So as you can see, there's this cycle that happens. It's so sad. This cycle that these children are just in the background not being validated. And the daughter ends up developing codependent tendencies. And then the son develops codependent or narcissistic tendencies. And then the cycle continues. The daughter seeks a spouse, the same that is like her father. And then there's a narcissistic son who seeks a spouse like her mother, a codependent mother. And then the cycle just goes and continues and continues and continues and continues. Do you see? Do you see what's going on? It's so sad. It's extremely sad. And then you wonder why our ummah is in the state it is. Because there's so much dysfunction in our families. There's so much dysfunction. We need to stop this cycle of dysfunction in these homogenous cultures. We need to start validating our kids. We need to notice them. But how can we do that if we don't notice our feelings and our wants and our needs? So let's talk about some solutions to stop this cycle of dysfunction. Right? Let's think about it. Number one, women, mothers, wives, stop and start validating yourself. Stop and notice how you feel. Notice what your wants are. Notice what your needs are. Go back to your child self and start forgiving that person. Start empathizing with that person. Start peeling those layers of programming. Cultural Islam is not the true Islam. It's not. Islam doesn't teach us to not honor ourselves. Women out there. I'm a woman myself. I have empathy for you guys. Listen to me and just hear me. God didn't create us to be slaves. God created us to be strong women who raise strong women. So start taking care of yourself. Start loving yourself. Then your daughters will see and watch the strong woman you become. And start validating your daughters and your sons. Their feelings matter. Fathers out there, start peeling those the layers of programming as well. Start empathizing with your old selves, your younger selves. It wasn't your fault that you weren't validated. Go back to that 7-year-old self. Go back to that 6-year-old self. And say to yourself, you know what? My parents didn't know better. My parents were living in a lower level of consciousness. They didn't know better. You know, men do have a right to their feelings too. They can feel. They don't have to get numb. You don't have to be numb to your feelings. You don't have to be numb. Teach your sons to feel. You know, and let's start. And then once you start peeling those layers of programming and start reaching your authentic selves, you'll able to see your children again. You'll be able to see your wife, your surrounding, and you'll start being able to make a difference in the world. Life will become simple for the family. Mother and father, stop this cycle. Mother and father, stop this cycle. Know what cultural Islam is. Know what real Islam is. Learn what codependency is and learn what narcissism is and how they affect one another. Learn to stop this cycle. We need to stop the programming in these homogenous cultures. We need to be happier families so we can go and complete our mission in life, which is what? To go out there and make a difference, right? Or whatever it may be. To be happy individuals, right? To smile. Alrighty, so this was just one of the many recordings that I will be doing, God willing, regarding this issue, because it is a big issue. Take care, guys, and remember, let's reach our authentic selves, our souls that are beautiful and created just to shine light in this world and make a difference. Take care. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.